Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by and taking time to check out my content. I hope you decide to stick around, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and become a member of the Soul Squad. Also, don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload, because I upload every week. And let's get into today's video. What's up, Soul Squad? For today's video, I'm going to be telling you about my experiences with the Weeping Lady. Now, I said that rather lightly because I'm not quite sure that this was, in fact, a weeping lady, like a spirit of a weeping lady, because this is when we were dealing with the dark force that's talked about in my book, and it all happened right here in the house. It was during the same time frame of all this unfolding. So what we were dealing with at the time was a rather manipulative force. So, of course, what better way to obtain any kind of interaction or draw attention to yourself as portraying as a helpless weeping lady? So that's just a thought I'm going to put out there, and if you've read my book, you'll understand. And if not, for all those that ask where you can get the book, I always leave a link in the description box below. I do several giveaways on this channel, giving away copies of my books. You'll have a chance to win those. And I also do free promotions for the digital download quite often whenever Amazon allows me to do so. So there's different opportunities to get your hands on the book and read the story. If you're curious, it just kind of puts everything into perspective and everything we went through, and it's all right there together. But of course, I do share a lot of the stories here with you guys because you are my family as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the point that I'm trying to get to and tell you about my experience with this weeping lady. Now, there's several occurrences I've had personally, and my son's experienced it, and my mother, so I'm just going to kind of tell you how everything played out and just kind of let you form your own opinion of what was going on, whether it was a lady or you think it was a manipulative force trying to just portray a lady that was in distress because, you know, pulled on our heartstrings a little, of course. But the first time that I remember hearing the weeping was when I had moved in back home with my parents. My father talked me back into moving into this house again with them when I got out of a bad situation. And when I got back here, my grandmother was living here momentarily. And one night, my son and I were in our room, and I heard like loud sobbing. This went beyond weeping, it was sobbing. And my first thought was that my grandmother was upset about something. So I ran out of this room around to where my grandmother's room was, and I opened the door really quickly thinking I was going to walk in, she would be sobbing on the floor, and lo and behold, she's smiling and reading a book. So it was not my grandmother. When I got there, I did not hear the sobbing anymore, and that was my first instance of like, what just happened? Because I wasn't quite understanding anything at the moment. That was before everything broke into complete chaos, at least in the paranormal aspect. So, you know, I just kind of brushed that off like, okay, that was strange. Okay, well, another instance was when my son was playing in the living room. We had been in there playing, and I went to the bedroom for a little while, and the room in between us is the den. So there was one room in between us. My son was in there with my family, and I went to the room to do something in the bedroom, and I was going to join them back really shortly. So I go into the bedroom, and again, a few minutes later, in the den, I hear this weeping. This was not as heavy, like heavy sobbing, as I'd heard, you know, when I thought it was my grandmother. But this time I thought my mom was upset. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I didn't think about the other occurrence of the sobbing that stopped and never had an explanation. But I went to the den to find an empty room. There was no one there. When I walked on through the house, my mom was nowhere. There's no person there that could physically been sobbing or crying. And my son ran back through and met me in the middle. Now, at this point, the weeping had stopped. I didn't hear anything, but my son said, "Mommy, why is that lady crying?" My heart stopped, okay? To know that he heard that too without me saying anything, without any indication that I had heard that, just blew my mind. So that was one of his many experiences that happened at the very beginning of all of his crazy experiences. So that's the personal experiences. I heard the sobbing, and my son heard it as well. But again, after the tragedy played out, everything went south for us, and we lost my father and everything in that process. My mother was home alone one night, and she heard what she said was weeping and sobbing like I had heard, but she didn't think about my experience before. She just thought because we were going through such a tragic time and we would randomly, have really bad days, of course, and still reflect back on the tragedy because it's still so fresh. So it was common for someone to break out crying throughout the house. And she heard the sobbing as well, and she thought that one of us had came home and was upset and crying. So she goes to console us as we had done her before, and it wasn't her. And she comes into an empty room, checks all the rooms in the house, and she is still alone in the house. Nobody is even there at this moment in time. So that's at least 3 instances I remember right off the top of my head with the sobbing. I'll have to ask my mom if she remembers any more occurrences where this happened. Now, I've mentioned a time where I thought I heard my dad sobbing in a more recent matter here in this house after we rented everything, after everything had stopped. We don't have too much happen here anymore, just every now and then an occasional small occurrence, but that's just something that all blows my mind, and putting it all together is just crazy that we all experienced that, and I thought you guys would want to hear about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you've not already and become a member of the Soul Squad. We'd love to have you as a part of our family. Also, if you have any experiences relating to this, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section, so don't forget to let me know. And any suggestions you have you'd like to see on this channel, because it's just as much your channel as it is mine. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your support and encouraging words. I love each and every one of you. You'll never know how much you all mean to me. And always remember, stay humble, stay kind, stay awesome. I'll see you in my next video.